All right, people, we are here today with a new video. And it's time to wake up the gods of politics and other interesting, fun things as we do a interesting rant video, or not a rant, but just an interesting live stream video Q&A thing, not a rant. Um, to see what's going on with our good friend conservative furry. So without further ado, let's get him on live. All right, welcome to the show.
Hello.
This is your second time being on here, so all right, just introduce yourself, I guess, for now.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I am formerly known as Conservative Furry. I have shifted to the left over the last couple of weeks. I disbanded my main channel and started a very new channel where I push for generally social Democrat views, not the old conservative views I used to believe in.
That's pretty interesting. So some people might have some questions. So far, nobody's commenting yet, but for people with questions, I think I had a few questions to ask you. So, what made you switch over so quickly to the left? Like, it seems like it kind of happened. Like, I know you said that it didn't happen, that you've been changing it for a while, but like, there was like a drastic change in when you were like, well, I'm still a conservative, and then you went to, oh, I'm a leftist now.
Well, I wouldn't generally say I'm a leftist. I still absolutely disavow socialism and communism. I've debated socialists and communists on their very ideas and called them out for being too far to the left. The reason I shifted left wasn't because I didn't do it quickly. It was a very gradual process, and the reason it happened is because I lost hope and trust within the Make America Great Again movement, also known as the MAGA movement, because these people aren't trying to make America great. They lied to me, and, when I look at these bills and I read them out, even the former president, who I used to believe in, I look into his history and the bills he talks about, talks against, and he just lies about it.
I mean, can you give us a few
just
examples?
feel betrayed,
Give us a couple of examples of what he really lied about, because I know he couldn't fulfill some things, like a lot of presidents have not been able to fulfill certain things. I mean, we're coming up on President's Day, so this is a perfect time to talk about it. But I mean,
right.
Obviously, he wasn't able to fulfill some things, but I think he did a lot economically and to improve some things, and maybe some things he did worse. I think personally, as much as I am a Trump supporter, I will say this: I think sometimes he talks a little bit too much, or he says stuff when he's not supposed to. You know what I mean? But I prefer him any fucking day over Biden. You know what I mean? So,
I understand.
Just give me a good example for the viewers. Just give me a good example of what he lied about that really made you lose trust in him.
So, I was under the impression that he wanted to make America great again. One of the ways he tried to go about doing this was trying to fix our border problem. This is one of the things that he has consistently lied about. Under his presidency, it wasn't just failing to do the wall. He built some sections of the wall which had very limited success, and then a huge spike of migrants just a couple months later after that, Donald Trump has failed on pretty much all of his promises, and the things he said in his rallies really worries me, because instead of addressing the huge inflation that we have, or again talking about the border problem, he instead wanted to talk about trans women competing in social events, something the president shouldn't have control over. Like, these should be decided by the people who host these events, if they want to exclude or include certain people.
Well, like I agree with you on that. I think the president doesn't have control over sporting events. The president should be in control of, what you said, inflation, the economy, more important things than simple sporting events. And I think when it comes to that, I think he's just lobbying for voters that are feel turned against, and just feel turned against by the entire left wing and all that. But I think that's a completely different subject than what the president should be focused on, because obviously you're right, there are more fucking important problems than fucking sports, you know what I mean? I'm a sports fan, and I don't agree that there should be trans women in female sports, because biologically they're men. If they're gonna compete in sports, I think they should compete in the male sports, unless they're obviously have gone through drastic changes, for years already, and have basically no testosterone and are basically women already. You know what I mean? But that's a completely different situation. I don't think the president needs to be focused on that thing. He needs to be focused on the border problem, because right now our border problem is worse than ever under Biden. You know what I mean?
Well, Biden has been trying to deal with the problem, and Democrats have again proposed a bill to deal with the border problem. I can show you the recent Democrat bill that they proposed.
I've seen the bill, and surprisingly, I actually agree with the bill. I don't think that
this is what
immigration
Democrats.
bill is a horrible idea.
This is what they've been pushing. Yeah, this is what they've been pushing for years. But Republicans have always said no to these kinds of bills.
Because
these are common sense bills that would they're very bipartisan. They would be something the right would absolutely agree with. But I think the reason they don't want to do it is because of political corruption. I think because Hispanics are especially voting more conservative, they want more immigrants to come into the country. That way, they not only get the Hispanics who vote illegally, but they also get the Hispanics who vote legally and who vote against that kind of border problem. So it is a two-way street, and they are the only ones benefiting from it.
That's actually pretty interesting way to think about it, actually, because I never I would think you say, oh, I wanna get rid of the border problem, right? You say, oh, yeah. I'm tired of all the people hopping the border. I'm tired of all the illegal immigrants coming in. And they say they've been voting Democrat, but the way where you're getting your information from, it's saying that they're voting more conservative.
No, I'm not giving my information. What we've seen recently is trends with the Hispanic community voting more to the right because they want to deal with the border problem. But what they don't understand is that the border problem entirely benefits conservatives. So they're not going to do anything about the border problem. They're going to pretend to do things about it. And then they're going to benefit from both illegal and legal immigration.
Oh, so it's like a big shtick. It's like you say you want to fix the border problem so you can get votes for yourself, and then you put the blame of the border problem that you haven't fixed on the Democrats.
Right. I just feel like that's not very
yeah, I feel like that is
good faith.
It's unhonest, if you ask me. And I think, in my opinion, I think Trump actually I think Trump tried to get the border problem solved, but he just didn't have. I mean, again, if you saw as well, especially in his early days when he's trying to get the wall thing done, none of the Democrats wanted to really vote for it, or very few of them did.
Well, when we talk about the Democrats, they took back the House in 2018.
Yes.
What they negotiated with the Trump administration was a bipartisan bill like the one I just showed you. They've been trying to solve this immigration problem for years. They've been trying to expand the places like immigration courts so more immigrants can be handled. They've been trying to make it a lengthy kind of pathway to citizenship. They've always advocated this pathway to citizenship. But then when they explain their plans, everyone understands it and everyone agrees with it, like on both sides.
Yeah.
But the conservatives don't want you to know how good their plan is. And I think, again, it's really disingenuous. So I've not only been lied to about the border, I've been lied to about the whole Make America Great Again movement. Like, every issue, I can go, like, one by one, even on, like, corporations. I can especially go on about that one, right? You know the woke corporations that, you want to deal with, right?
Yeah. Like mega corporations.
The
for
way
me
we deal with
personally,
that,
I
right?
hate mega corporations, honestly. I hate, like, McDonald's and Disney and all that. I can't stand it.
And you know who hates them too?
Who?
Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders. As much as I don't like those two because they're too far left, they agree with the rest of the Democrats in their respective houses and Senate that it would be best if we would break up these corporations. This has been a Democrat proposal for a very long time that Republicans are only now looking at. But instead of proposing bipartisan solutions from the right wing, because they can propose bills too. The right has a lot of power in the United States Senate. It's split 50-50. They can absolutely propose a bill that would be bipartisan to break up these corporations. Democrats have done that, and Republicans refused them in the past several times, citing that it would be bad for businesses.
I think what we need to make sure we're voting in honest politicians, which is going to be pretty hard to do because there are not a lot of honest politicians. I feel like this is more of just a politician, my side over yours. I'm going to try to ruin your side by not doing this so I can get more votes, etc., etc. I think it's a politician's problem. And what we need to do, we need to get more honest politicians that are going to actually speak the truth. What we need to do is we need to stop fighting each other and we need to start negotiating and meeting in the middle so we can solve the actual problems at hand. You know what I mean?
Right.
We need to stop. Which is
what
I would do if I were a
like
politician. If I were a politician, I would actually do negotiations with both my own side as well as the left as well. Because the left does have, I'll put it blatantly, the left does have some good ideas. They have some good ideas.
Every idea coming from the left, at least from social democracy side, it's a term we don't really use in America. The Democrats are center left. That's generally what their party is. I'm a little bit further to the left than the Democrats, but I see the usefulness in them. They have a lot of usefulness in the way that they try to be bipartisan and they propose bipartisan bills. Like, they've proposed for years that we should break up these corporations, and only now the conservatives want to do it because they're being censored. But
which is
it
dumb
shouldn't have had to be a debate at all.
I've experienced being censored. I know you and me have both experienced being censored on YouTube. When you had your conservative channel, you got fucking censored. You got fucking shut down. And recently, I've been shut down for a whole ass week, which is why I'm not going to talk about the little bug. You know what I mean? I'm not talking about that little bug.
I know Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Because
It's about
if
a
I
certain
do,
pandemic.
if I do talk about the bug, then it's gonna get me canceled, and I'm gonna go off the live stream, which is why we're not gonna talk about that today.
Exactly. Yeah, but like, I could go issue by issue. What other issue?
You want me to name an issue
like
for
really
you?
important.
I think an issue for me
Because
that is very important is the I'm gonna say probably this whole this woke awakening that's happening with all these people. Like we need to just like stop the whole cancel culture and the whole woke awakening that all these people are going through. Like our entire entertainment has been just completely just brainwashed with all this woke agendas, and it's just horrible. Like, sure, sometimes it's okay, sometimes it's all right. You know, you won't put a gay character in a movie. I don't really give a shit. But like when you keep doing it time and time and time again, and you make it a fucking tokenization, you make it a trope, and you just keep shoving it in everyone's faces, it gets fucking annoying. And it's just fucking horrible. And we need to fucking do something to stop this whole woke agenda, because they're just trying to brainwash people.
with regards to that, what do you mean?
I'm just saying.
Like, can you give me a specific example of like the woke indoctrination, as you call it?
Let me give you a specific example of the woke indoctrination. So let's look at something that I know a lot. Okay, let's talk about like football, for example. Okay, so when it comes to football, me and my friend David and a few others have noticed a trend that there's always this one African American player that they say quote unquote does well, and they hype them up the whole season, and like when it comes to like a white guy, if they don't do well like one time, they have one bad game, they completely shut them down. And it's because of the whole BLM thing that happened with Kaepernick. And it's been happening for a long ass time. You know what I mean? With the whole BLM thing, like these
Colin Kaepernick's a bit of an interesting case.
Exactly. But it also happens with other players as well.
Like I think you know, in the freest country in the world, you should absolutely like be allowed to like kneel during the national anthem. I don't understand why that was a big deal. Like I understand,
because it's disrespecting the flag that's right behind my head.
But at the same time, it's that flag that gave freedom to those people to do that.
And Colin Kaepernick should respect that.
Right, and he did respect that by
kneel
putting his knee down.
Is spitting in the face of the flag that gave him the right to do that. It goes full circle. So it just means he shouldn't fucking kneel in the first place.
Why can't you exercise the freedom that your country gave you?
Any other fucking time would be better. If he just wanted to go on the news and debate and say, hey, there's a problem in the community and we need to focus on that, then he has the right to do that. That's what he was trying to do. That's when he should do that.
That's what he was trying to do. But when
he decided to do it during the national anthem and spit in the face of the flag.
Yes, because wait, he wasn't trying to spit in the face of the flag. I think in Colin.
Yes, he does. Not to mention the fact he also supports communism. He actually supports Karl Marx.
Hold on. I want to get back to what Colin Kaepernick was doing. I think in his case, he was using the freedom that the country provided him to exercise his freedom to, you know, kneel during the American anthem. I know it can be disrespectful, but when you look at this from the other perspective, it's like we gave people the absolute freedom in this country. Like, we're supposed to be the freest nation on earth.
Okay.
So
fair enough.
Why would we?
So let's say this. Let's say this. He's allowed to do it.
He's allowed to do it. Right.
He's allowed to do it, but He's allowed to do it. But when he does it, he should expect that he's going to get booed out of the building when he does it. Because he's allowed to do it. Ben Shapiro has actually said that. He's allowed to do it, but it still makes him a dick. It still makes him an asshole. And he's still a communist.
Well, how is he a communist?
Because he has claimed several times that communism would work in America. Not to mention the fact that
he has directly claimed that
via news interviews. He has directly claimed it. That he said, "Oh, communism will work in America, or socialism will work in America."
Well,
I know communism and socialism are slightly different.
Yeah, I know.
I believe he said socialism is the one that he said, which I think socialism is pretty horrible as well in its own right.
It goes a little bit too far for me. But what I would say to Colin Kaepernick is, like, you have the right to have your opinion. Absolutely.
Another thing that I think Kaepernick as well. Another thing that I think is interesting about Kaepernick is this was the season where he was being replaced by QB Jimmy Garoppolo, and Kaepernick saw this coming a long time because Kaepernick he's a garbage player. He's a garbage player. Okay, he's an interception machine. Which, if you don't know what an interception is, it's when you throw the ball to the wrong team and basically turn the ball over for them to score. He's an interception machine, basically. He's a garbage player, and whenever he gets hit by the defender, he's always cries about it or is always complaining to the referee. So he saw this coming a long time. He saw that he was going to get down to a second string. And it's not really about the money of being a first string. I think it's just he wants the fame. He wants to be remembered. You know what I mean? Because he went to the Super Bowl. He fucking failed at the Super Bowl miserably. And he wants to be remembered for something. So he decides to be a martyr and go completely political and make a statement and basically change the entire sports, the whole sports climate on its head, basically, which he actually managed to do. I'll give him that. He's successful at fucking changing how sports is now, and how it's actually really changed the like how politics actually is in the sports. Me and my friends, we were watching the Super Bowl, and we were both saying, why does this have to be so political? Like some of these ads and some of the pre-Super Bowl rituals, why do they have to do these things? You know what I mean? Like, why do they have to be like, Black Lives Matter, blah, blah, blah. Yes, we know fucking Black Lives Matter. Like, you've been doing this shit forever, right?
Right.
We know Black Lives Matter. Everybody knows Black Lives Matter. I'm pretty sure nearly everybody agrees Black Lives Matter, unless, I don't know, you're probably part of the fucking Ku Klux Klan. I'm pretty sure everybody agrees that Black Lives Matter, but you don't need to fucking rub it in because you're not talking about Black lives actually mattering. All you're talking about right now when you're saying that, you're talking about the organization. You're just promoting the organization, which, by the way, has socialist tendencies.
Well, there is a national organization, but there's also like smaller kind of like sub-organizations of BLM. It's kind of like Antifa, and I've tried to explain this to people.
And you already know how I feel about Antifa as well.
Like, for example, the BLM sub-chapter in my area, they never started any problems with police. They peacefully protested. They never burned wait, hold on. They never burned Houston to the ground. They worked with police. Like, they coordinated schedules together. Like, this was absolutely peaceful because Houston has, like, great race relations.
Yeah.
The problem that people have with BLM is the riots, which only account for a small percentage of, like, every bit of protests they've had across the country.
Well, I think
when it comes to the most violent places, it's come to places where they've had bad police. Like,
I mean, look at Portland. For example.
Like, they had bad relations with the police.
Let's look at. Portland.
Okay, I can explain Portland.
Portland was just an absolute
so
riot
that city
mess,
for
okay?
that city for years before the riots and everything, that city was still a mess. people think like Portland was this great place before it was like rioted.
Portland's a shit town.
When it came, yeah. Well, hold on. When it came to Portland, what ended up happening was, they had the police had bad relations with the minorities living in Portland. They have for years. This goes to several places in America. So naturally, the BLM chapter came there to protest for, Black Lives Mattering, because the police have had a pretty bad record when it comes to Portland. Just like Detroit, just like Chicago. I can point out many of these places that have had bad police interactions.
What about Minneapolis?
Yeah, like Minneapolis too.
Fucking burn Minneapolis to the fucking ground.
Right. The protests turned to riots for several different reasons, but it tends to be where, like, if you have a state that is largely, largely not mixed or overwhelmingly white, like over 90% white, what you will tend to notice is, like, by statistics, BLM tends to be more active in these areas because, there's less minority representation.
How come you don't really see a ton of, I don't know, BLM riots in little, like, small southern towns and shit? I mean, I think
because in the south there's more black people. Like, take the city of Houston, for example, in Texas.
But I'm talking
Texas
about,
is a very diverse state, right?
You don't see a lot of, like, riots in, like, small white southern towns and, like, primarily white southern towns where there's, like, I don't know, a handful of African.
Yeah, because they don't have bad histories with the police.
They're just
they
just kind of coexist.
These bigger white states who have, like, bad histories with the police, you will notice, like, BLM tends to be very active towards there, like Minneapolis, Portland, Chicago, Detroit. Of course, I can name all the cities where, there have been riots.
New York is another example.
Yeah, there tends to be, like, less minority representation, especially in
I feel like New York actually wasn't that bad. So I think I did do a comment on New York in a video or something somewhere on the line. But New York actually wasn't that bad. New York was actually, like, I think in, like, the Bronx or something, like, the BLM thing was happening, but it wasn't exactly a riot. They just kind of marched through the streets and loudly banged on pots and pans and shit.
Right.
And then after, I think, like, the police just kind of stood there for a while, and then eventually, like, some of the crowd just kind of got rowdy because, like, some hood drama or whatever, and then the police just fired a few flashbangs and everyone just scattered.
Right. I feel like a lot of these problems could be solved if we would stop trying to make everything absolutely political. Like, when Colin Kaepernick said that he supported BLM and he made it kind of national news, the reason it was made national news is because this has been a organization that has been trying to, mend relations between local police departments and minority groups in their areas. That's essentially what they want to do.
Because I think the national organization is socialist. They promote socialist policies. What's up, Don Seven? What's up? We're talking politics over here. I think the national BLM organization, they promote socialist policies. And you can see that.
So I think when it comes to the national organization, they try, like, their stated goal is that they want for local police departments to get along with minorities in their area.
I think
that's where the subchapters come in. I think that the subchapters,
for example, in our subchapter where I'm from, in our subchapter, they actually don't do shit. I think they do like one thing a year at, like, the LGBT parade where they show up, and other than that, they just make social media posts, which,
because the police in your area,
Just don't do
Yeah,
anything.
because the police in your area aren't bad. It's like my area. Why BLM
the police,
works so
the
well
police
for
in
my
our
area.
area, the police in our area just don't give a shit about anything. They're just
Our police
there.
are very diverse when it comes to like hiring. We have we have a bunch of white police, but we also have a bunch of like black and Hispanic. It's like a great mix, and you tend to notice when you have
Well,
like
my area is a boiling pot
large
as well. My area is a boiling
right,
pot.
exactly. You'll notice that these boiling pots tend to be a lot calmer, and there tends to be a lot less rioting. That's because the police in that area tend to be like less hostile. It's like, for example, a black person is going to have a worse time in Michigan than he's going to have in Texas because the culture of Texas is overall much better. And that's why we have negative police relations in like Minnesota, Oregon, like these giant white states. And especially Illinois. Illinois is super white, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. There's like a lot of black people, but it's still not very. The police still aren't fucking good. The police are awful in Illinois. But yeah, I think it depends. And what socialist positions does the organization hold? Like the BLM organization?
I'm actually looking right fucking now.
Right, because I know they had a website.
They have a website called Black Lives Matter. Right now, they kind of just posting, like, what are we in Black History Month right now? Yeah, I think we're in Black History Month.
I think that's.
No, that's not January.
Wait, I thought that was June.
February is Black History Month. Last time I checked.
I thought it was June.
Yeah, it's February. It's February. So right now we're in Black History Month. So right now it's just, them posting like old like books and stuff and like posting up books right now. But let me look in this. Let me look into this. I know maybe if I go into they're pro-abortion as well.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
For me personally, I think abortions should happen early or when necessary, obviously. Like when absolutely necessary. Like sometimes when it's late term, sometimes the woman literally the baby will not survive in the world.
Right.
Even if they aren't aborted.
And so they're basically forced to get an abortion because they have to.
Basically.
Yeah, I understand.
But then again, you also should bring up doctors also need to bring up the option of like adoption centers. And I think what the government can do is help to fund these adoption centers so they can be better. Because right now the adoption centers and stuff, they're horrible right now. They are absolutely atrocious. What we need to do, we need to put more funding into adoption centers and stop focusing on just abortion like it's the only option.
Right.
Put more funding into adoption centers so you can find these kids better parents.
Abortion's not the only option, but the reason why we say abortion can be an option, and it is an option that is used by a lot of people. I mean,
I feel like adopting would probably. I feel like having an adoption, like giving your kid to adoption when they're like a baby, if you really can't afford it and you really just you just got pregnant and it was like a freak accident and you didn't want to kill the baby because it was against your values or whatnot, right? So
yeah, I understand. Those people do end up giving their children to adoption centers.
To an adoption center. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I
kind of lost my train of thought there for a second. I was going to say something else, but
yeah, the way I see abortion is purely through the lens of medical. I don't see it as anything more than medical. It is a medical choice, just like it is for you to take the COVID vaccine or not. Which is why I do not stick for mandates, which is something I will continue to fight against, no matter what ideology I am, conservative, social democrat.
Well, I mean, I could talk about that, but I think YouTube is gonna come after me if I continue to talk about that.
No, don't worry.
Yeah.
No, I'll be careful with the language. I know how to escape past this because, trust me, I've had my video taken down. No, I'm I'm very reasonable, and I try to make amends with like conservatives, and I try to like hopefully educate them better on like the stuff that's going on, because from everything you've said here, you seem to agree with everything the Democrats want. Like, they do want to fund adoption centers better. They want to make democracy stronger in the U.S. They actually proposed a bill recently that the conservatives rejected, which was normally going to happen. But they proposed a bill that would have changed how the filibuster worked. Now, the way the Democrats wanted to change it was different than how the conservatives said. But literally inside of the bill, what the filibuster change would have done, right, is a vocal filibuster. In the United States, before the silent filibuster we have nowadays, right, where anyone can just like straight up reject the bill, right, and it's over.
Yeah.
Before that, we used to have a voice filibuster. So if you opposed a law, you would talk the shit out of it.
Mm-hmm. And back then you would keep talking until the other side, until everyone decides to just reject it because they don't want to hear you talk anymore.
You can talk about your problems, and they can amend the bill like in public, you know? Like you get to hear everything that's in the bill, everything they have a problem with, and then it can be amended in public, you know?
Exactly.
It gives more transparency to the voters, and it gives more transparency to everybody else. That's what Democrats wanted to pass recently. But that also got rejected by conservatives.
Why? Because we have crooked politicians. We have guys like Mitch McConnell out there who are crooked. Absolutely crooked. I hate Mitch McConnell.
Right, but even some of the like better Republicans, like even Senator John Kennedy, I love him. Absolutely great senator from the state of Louisiana. Even he, as based as he is, he doesn't want to pass these bills because, again, it doesn't benefit his party. So this is why I've switched from being a conservative to the left, is because a lot of these issues that I cared about, the Democrats are absolutely pushing for, even though they're not in the majority, even though they know they're probably not going to get it passed. And now, because conservatives are so up in the polls due to Joe Biden being an idiot.
Because Joe Biden is a moron.
Democrats are going to lose.
I think we can both agree Joe Biden is a moron who passes stupid laws a lot of times and does stupid things.
I don't disagree with you that he's an idiot. But there's a lot of things that is not Joe Biden's fault. Like, for example, inflation. I can explain how inflation isn't his fault entirely. When it comes to
obviously
the economy,
inflation isn't his fault. Obviously, inflation isn't his fault. And it's because you can't put it all on one person. You got to think of all the other politicians and shit that are involved in causing inflation. And then again, inflation isn't
it's not even about
inflation
that.
Isn't even
by
purely
the Federal
caused.
Reserve.
Yeah, inflation isn't even purely caused by fucking government spending.
Right, exactly.
It's caused by printing money.
That's what FDR showed us.
There's when there's more money in the system, and the more you print, you keep printing fucking money, which is actually partially Biden's idea. He wants to keep printing money because he thinks that it's going to work somehow, because apparently politicians don't know how fucking the economy works. They're like, oh, let's just keep printing money and we'll fix our problems. We'll get out of debt if we keep printing money. No, you just make the value of the dollar go down the fucking drain.
I mean, here's the thing. They're not printing money. The reason why we have inflation is partially because of the global supply shortage. For example, I'm going to go back to oil. Oil is a huge problem right now in America, and the reason why is because we are not producing enough of it to meet the demand, and that is causing a huge amount of inflation, and that is constantly rising the price, because when you have little supply and huge demand, you are going to have a natural increase in inflation. It's going to become more valuable. That's how this works. It's like, it's such a simple thing to understand. So when it comes to oil, Joe Biden, he did a couple of things early on in his presidency where he canceled the Keystone XL project.
Exactly. He canceled the Keystone pipeline, which would have helped a lot. It would have helped a lot with the oil.
But we didn't have oil. We didn't have problems when he was getting rid of it. No one saw this oil shortage coming, and it wasn't created just because we're not
getting gas.
This wasn't created. It didn't come directly from Biden's decision. It probably would have held. Like, we're still drilling for a lot of oil. We're still producing a lot of oil, but we're not producing enough to meet demand, and that's the problem. Even if we had like Trump in the presidency, we would still have high gas prices because like America would not produce enough
under
oil.
Trump though,
it's the global supply shortage.
But to be fair, under Trump, when we were under his administration, we had lower gas prices.
But again, the reason why is because under his presidency, right at the end of it, the economy crashed. Like
because
at the end of the Trump's presidency, the economy crashed because, and we don't blame him for that. The reason why the economy crashed is because nations had to shut down because of the pandemic. So when it comes to that, we shut down to save people's lives, which caused a global supply shortage, especially because we stopped borrowing from other countries. And after February, everything started to become worse in the United States by March because we were dealing with the pandemic. It shut down global supply, and it wasn't as bad because it was about to get worse. And under President Joe Biden, we were still producing enough oil to meet our demand, but then demand shot up and supply became fewer and fewer, which caused huge inflation, and then everyone blamed him for that. Which I don't feel is very fair, because even if Donald Trump was in charge, we'd still have these oil problems. This isn't a political party problem. Even if we had all the projects of oil, we would still be missing so much oil. We are in such a negative deficit that people have to understand this. Demand has to fall, or supply has to increase to a massive amount that we are not going to get.
Yeah.
Also, another thing people hate Joe Biden for, this is partially the reason for his decline in the polls. When it comes to Joe Biden, they criticized his Afghanistan pullout. Now, there's a lot
that
of
was very dumb. That was his decision entirely, okay? Let me say this. That's the biggest thing that I will criticize Joe Biden on, is the Afghanistan pullout and the failure of that, the complete failure. It's a military failure. It's bigger than Vietnam. That is worse than Vietnam, what he did. He left millions of dollars of equipment in the arms of the ISIS and the Afghani government, which is a horrible idea, because the Afghans were not going to fucking fight ISIS because they were cowards.
The Taliban.
The Taliban. My bad. I get them confused because they're all very, terrorists. You know what I mean? All terrorists, very bad people, do very bad things.
Yes, I understand this. When it comes to Afghanistan, that's all.
But to be fair,
I'm going to
I did also support pulling out of Afghanistan. I support the idea of pulling out, but not like that. The idea of pulling out and having a well done pullout with a plan put in place that you would you'd roll your equipment back after the years and let Afghanistan defend themselves is good, because we cannot be country building. You understand? We cannot be country building in the name of quote unquote democracy to countries that don't even fucking want democracy in the first place.
Right.
I don't know why they didn't see this, because it's just a waste of time. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of money. And then, to be fair, because my dad fought in the Middle Eastern wars, you understand? And I would have too.
Yes,
I would have too if I were at the time. I would have signed up at the time. It's a spit in the face to our soldiers. You feel me? It's a spit in the face to just give up like that. And we should have pulled out. We should have been pulled out a long time ago. We should have been pulled out under the Trump presidency. But obviously, there was still shit going on under Trump. I do like Trump on this as well. he did his job. He did very good on tough. He was very tough on terrorism, and I think that was very good on him because he killed a lot of terrorist leaders, and sometimes he was criticized by the media harshly on it, but I think he did a good job at fighting terrorism. He did a better job than Bush, and he did a better job than Obama almost. I think the only thing I do like about Obama is he did kill Osama, which was good.
Yeah, Biden recently killed an ISIS leader, so it's not like Biden is weak on this either. When it comes to Afghanistan, there is a lot of more complicated factors when it comes to Afghanistan. For example, the equipment we left there, right?
We left fucking
for example,
Apache helicopters in the arms of the Taliban.
Yep.
That is horrible.
Yep.
We left M1 Abrams tanks in the hands of the Taliban.
Yes.
When these terrorists
learn
how to figure out how to use these, just imagine the damage they're gonna fucking cause. So what we need to do is just say, fuck the Middle East for now. If we're gonna defend anything in the Middle East, just keep Israel alive, pretty much. That's about it. Because Israel is our ally in the Middle East. And we should stick to our promise to protect them. Obama almost started a war with Israel, actually.
All right.
At the end of his presidency, Obama almost started a war with Israel.
All right. So when it comes to the equipment we left behind, a lot of it was already really old. The inspections by the U.S. forces.
Okay, but you know who else uses old military technique or old military technology? Japan. They get all our old shit all the time. They have a fighting force.
Right, but we're able to reimburse them with money. The Taliban has no money, and they also
I don't think they're going to be able to figure out a lot of how to use the equipment. Which
exactly.
I have said. I don't think they're going to be able to figure out.
That's why we left it behind, because it's useless for them. They're not going to be able to reverse engineer it, right? That was one of the things that was talked about, but they don't have the knowledge nor the U.S. parts, and they can't get the parts that we have here because the parts we manufacture here are not like made in China. They're not shitty, cheap shit, right? These are American-made, very advanced technological shit that they are not going to be able to figure out.
Yeah. Here's something that my friend Don7 has said. He's the paintball channel. He said the Taliban is more of a conventional army now with all the equipment. They can maintain them though. I don't know.
They can't. They absolutely can't maintain them. They absolutely can't.
I do think that now that they have M4s and shit, yeah, that's a little bit more scary. And now that they have Humvees and all that shit, that's scary. Obviously, it sucks.
Right, but the Humvees aren't going to be as useful for them because you
can just blow up
their
Humvees.
Climate.
Saw a video of Taliban flying Blackhawks. Not sure how true though. Maybe can.
Right. Again, the problem with these, right, is that it requires like the terrorists to have the same components that the Americans can, right? What happens to that helicopter when it runs out of fuel? They're not going to be able to buy it because the type of fuel that those helicopters like the Black Hawks need, they need something that America has, and America's not going to arm the terrorists with fuel for their new Black Hawk helicopters. So if the Taliban were smart, what they would do is they would sell this equipment to other nations. That's the only thing they reasonably can do with
like
it.
Russia or something.
Right, exactly. And it's not even going to be useful in their hands because even if they sold it to Russia or China, because I've heard this talked about as a possibility, the U.S., we always have a way to like disable our own equipment, right? This is what we did to Iraq back when George H.W. Bush invaded the country. Anyone remember the Iraq War or before the Iraq War?
My dad
I
fought
believe
in the
this
war,
was
so
under George.
Yes, it was under George.
Right, sorry,
Bush.
the Gulf War. The Gulf War.
The Gulf War was under Bill
my
Clinton.
Bad. So under the Gulf War.
The Gulf War was under Bill Clinton.
Wait, no, I thought that was.
Iraq was
HW.
No, HW was post 9/11. My grandpa fought in the Gulf War. Wait, actually, he didn't fight. No, he didn't fight.
Wait. But 9/11 happened.
Well, he's an
under George
officer
W.
in the
Bush.
Gulf War. He's an officer during the Gulf War under Bill Clinton. But he also fought in the other Gulf War, the Bay of Pigs and all that.
Wait.
under
Bill
Kennedy.
Clinton. Hold on. I'm gonna look up Gulf War, see when
Gulf
that
War.
was.
That was in the 90s.
The Gulf War was in 1990.
Yes.
1991, before the election.
Is that Clinton or is that under? Who is before him? Reagan?
I believe.
No, that wouldn't be Reagan. That would be Jimmy Carter.
No. It was George H.W. Bush. He was still president, but
it was
like
George
outgoing.
Bush Sr. George Bush Sr.
Yeah, George Sr. So George Sr.'s war, right?
Yes.
So when it came to George Sr., he actually did something very smart that we can do to the Taliban right now. He disabled their military equipment because in our equipment. Oh, your thing cut out. No more voice.
My thing cut out?
Oh, okay, you're back. Hi. Okay, so George H.W. Bush, what he ordered the armed forces to do was disable the equipment that they stole from us, and he got it disabled. And when they tried to use the tanks and the planes they had from us, they couldn't get them off the ground. They absolutely got crushed by the U.S. so hard that their country fell within a couple days.
I do like George Bush. I am a Bush Senior fan.
George Senior was George Senior was good at foreign policy. He was one of the best at foreign policy.
He was good at foreign policy, but not only that, before his presidency, he was a war hero.
Absolutely. And when it comes to Joe Biden, like leaving equipment in Afghanistan, we can disable the Taliban's equipment like George Sr. did for the Iraqis back during the Gulf War. Like, what people don't understand is that, like, inside of the equipment that the Taliban stole, we have an ability to disable the equipment. Like
we have a kill switch.
You ever seen those?
We have a kill switch, right?
Exactly. We have built-in kill switches.
So then use them.
So even if they tried, yeah, we that's the thing. The U.S., right, isn't fighting Afghanistan, and we don't plan to.
Afghanistan is fighting itself. Okay, Afghanistan has fallen. It is fighting itself. But I still do believe that we could have handled that situation better. We needed to pull out a lot of equipment because, okay, let's just say, yeah, they have
pulling out.
They have Humvees,
useless.
They have M4s. There's still a threat. You know what I mean? There's still a threat. Sure, they don't have fancy equipment, but now they're even more of a threat. They have better weapons. They have more men now, and they're something that needs to be dealt with.
They're better weapons.
And what I say, I would vote Trump because I think Trump is going to do what he said in 2016, which is what he did, and he's going to do it again. He's going to bomb the shit out of them. The Taliban will not survive if Trump is president because he's just going to bomb the shit out of them.
Well, hold on. That's not true. The Taliban still survived throughout the Trump presidency. One thing
they got fucked up during the Trump presidency. Trump fucked them up.
I mean, we didn't really make a lot of progress until the end of the Trump presidency. The Islamic Caliphate, also known as ISIS, they made some tremendous errors when it came to Afghanistan. They had to leave the region because the Taliban was kicking their ass, and then we started fighting the Taliban. I mean, this was a U.S.-funded group, originally used to fight against the Soviets back in the 80s. We fought against the Taliban. We left a bunch of equipment there that's pretty much useless. The only thing I can see really there being useful is, like, again, as you mentioned, the M4s. But even when it comes to that, right, what happens when they when the guns malfunction?
What happens when
No, not even run out of ammo. What happens if they malfunction? Like, you can buy ammo from anywhere.
The thing about the M4 is
what happens when they malfunction?
I'm just saying this. The thing about the M4, they're actually made so they're easy to rebuild.
Right.
They're made so you can literally
the reason
take
we
them
gave
apart,
up, the reason,
fix a jam,
right,
and put it back together blindfolded. That's how they're made. And they train you that in boot camp.
the military leaders thought it was more useful to get more soldiers out instead of saving a bunch of equipment. So the way they saw it as they were retreating from Afghanistan under the plan that was
But
set and not changed.
even in the retreat, we still lost lives. Even in the
right,
retreat,
we lost
still
13
lives.
service members. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, I know.
Including
But
7
we
Marines.
we limited our losses. Like, they would have been even greater if we hadn't left that equipment behind. More Americans would have died. So the object was to save as many American lives as possible, because it does not benefit an administration. We clearly can see that politically now.
The object is bringing people
Right.
home. That's the key thing that you want to do.
Like, if Joe Biden, if somehow Joe Biden could have done that perfectly, which is impossible for any president to do, I think even Trump would have failed at this.
Well, Trump probably would have been criticized, but I think he would have did it better than Biden did.
I don't know about that, because Trump has made a lot of foreign policy disasters.
Trump
he almost got us into war with Iran.
Trump, I feel like what Trump would have did. Actually, I'll take that back. I think what Trump would have did. I think he would have did a similar thing. I mean, we probably would have brought back more equipment as well. Trump is kind of the person who would run away while shooting, while Joe Biden is the kind of person who just runs away.
Oh no, we still
would be running away while shooting. So we'd run away, but we'd still have aerial bombings and shit going on probably right now.
We were still doing that. We had Bagram Air Base still opened, and we were still using it to our advantage. The reason why the equipment was left there was so we could save more lives. Because if we didn't leave the equipment there, we would have had more deaths than just 13. It's really sad that those servicemen had to die, but we saved lives.
It's also fucking crazy how many of the people inside of Afghanistan just fucking died as well, because like you saw the fucking videos of like the planes taking off and like people clinging on to the fucking wheels and like falling off the planes at like fucking 30,000 feet up.
I saw it and it was very sad. They clearly didn't want to be under the terrorists. Like, they had lived under American occupation for years, and they were quite used to it. They had freedoms that they had never had under the other Afghan government. They had some of the greatest freedoms ever given to them, and now they'd
rather die than they'd rather die than live under the Taliban.
Yeah, because you're gonna get beheaded. Like, no one wants to be beheaded.
Yeah.
Like, the women lost all their rights. It's absolutely awful what happened in Afghanistan, but I don't think it could have been done better.
Because Afghanistan would have been taken over anyways. Because the main blame.
The U.S. had a chance.
I think the blame.
The U.S. had a chance.
Well, I think the blame.
I think the blame goes back to George W. Bush, and the reason I say this is because he should have handled Afghanistan better. The way he handled Afghanistan was absolute shit. If you watch like the war documentaries
you also gotta put. You also should put partial blame on Obama as well for kind of fucking it up worse.
I mean, Obama sent more troops. He didn't fuck anything up worse.
He just fought a war.
When it came to Bush, Bush did one of the stupidest things. He pulled troops out of Afghanistan. We lost territory in Afghanistan. What people don't understand is we nearly won the war under George W. Bush, but the reason why we started to lose territory is because we pulled those troops out to fight in Iraq, because he wanted to declare war on Iraq in 2003.
So he can get oil.
This was a stupid decision.
So he can get
by
oil.
George W. Bush. It was a stupid decision. It pissed me off.
I agree.
No, it was to overthrow Saddam Hussein.
I agree. Well, I thought the other reason was because he wanted oil. He wanted the oil wells out there. And another thing he also wanted, something that was also
at the time, we had a bunch of oil. We had a bunch of oil in America. We didn't need oil from
But George Bush wanted his company, because he has his own oil company. He wanted oil for himself so he can make money. Another thing that also was told to me by my neighbor Sean, another reason for George Bush going to Iraq is the opium industry as well that he was getting money from. They have opium fields out there, and he was getting money from that as well.
We could have easily won the war against Afghanistan under George W. Bush if he hadn't pulled those troops out of Afghanistan and maintained them there. We would have won the war in Afghanistan years ago. It wouldn't have been a brutal fight because George W. Bush made a fucking stupid mistake that was so catastrophic it led to the Islamic Caliphate under him conquering back its territory that it had lost. So George W. Bush fucked us. Obama increased troops there so that we could hold on to Afghanistan and probably win the war. He was trying to turn it around. Donald Trump came in. He made a bunch of foreign policy errors, but one of the things he was doing good in was Afghanistan. We were starting to get our edge back because of the work of Donald Trump and Barack Obama. They almost made up for George W. Bush's mistakes. And then
Joe Biden came and just said,
Donald Trump,
I'm going to pull out.
Wait, hold on. Donald Trump refused to send more troops. We still had a good position.
Because we were doing aerial bombings.
The American people were so sick of the war in Afghanistan by that point. We didn't see a purpose in it. We didn't see really us winning the war. Like, the American people were just done with it. They had asked for years to pull out of Afghanistan. And Trump decided, I'm going to be the president to do that. So he makes a plan, right?
Mm-hmm.
He makes a plan to pull out of Afghanistan, and then he tries to do it, and he doesn't. And then he has to leave office. And then when Joe Biden gets in, he actually does the plan that Trump wanted to do, right? The exact plan.
Mm-hmm.
And then we leave some equipment behind and 13 people die. Which is unfortunate, but we did the previous president's plan. This was the best we absolutely could have done.
Yeah. And then he kind of just... It just kind of... I don't know. Maybe I feel like it feels also like, as unfortunate as it are, I feel like partially the media might have also, overhyped Joe Biden's pulling out as well. If you know what I'm saying.
No, the media was very critical of him, actually.
Yeah, well, the media, you know what I mean? Not hyped. I'm trying to say that the media was like over. Just went overboard with it, like saying it is like the hugest disaster. And I do say it is a fucking disaster. It is a failure. But I mean, if it was under Trump, it probably would have fucking failed as well.
Yeah, the sad thing is this was the previous administration's plan. So if Trump had stayed in office, he would have got blamed for all this and been one of the worst presidents in American history. We would have easily voted in like Democrats after that point. So if Democrats didn't win the election of 2020, the Republicans would have been fucked. It's an interesting dynamic. But when we look in like July, right, his approval was pretty high, and then it started slipping around August for obvious reasons. And then it goes into the negatives.
Oh, then
and because
it goes
of inflation and the gas prices, that topples on.
Capitol riot as well at the time. It goes into the Capitol riot.
No, the Capitol riot made Republicans look awful. Democrats have benefited from that because Republicans made themselves look awful with the Capitol riot.
I think the Capitol riot was straight up just dumbassery. It's what happens when
stupid.
It's what happens when too many people have fucking access to the internet, and then you had like fucking Antifa groups coming in, and all these like the KKK basically was there, and fucking you had like the Proud Boys who should have just did what Trump said, stand by pretty much, and they didn't fucking listen because, well, a bunch of dumbass fucking boomers.
Right.
Like,
so
hey, I'm a boomer
understand.
with nothing. I'm a boomer with a lot of time on my hands because I have nothing to do and a fucking assault rifle. I'm gonna go storm the Capitol. Yay!
Right. So I hope now you understand why I'm a social democrat.
Well, I do.
Trump's movement.
I think I do. I understand. understand, but I don't think I'm ever going to leave the conservatives personally, just because I align myself more with that right wing. Like,
No,
economics
it's
itself.
okay. I'm not expecting you to change your beliefs. I'm just like, hopefully you look more into like the bills that are trying to be signed into law.
No,
And, like,
I understand,
you
and I
try
think
to
after this
understand this
discussion,
from like greater perspectives.
after this discussion I've had, I think what I can learn from this is that, like, we need to make sure that when you have a politician in office, like, I will still vote Trump when he runs again, or DeSantis, but I think when it comes to like these to politicians, we need to watch out who we're voting for. Obviously, like,
And
as
I would give
Don
that
Seven
warning for
says, I
Trump.
really want to stay. As Don says, he says, be careful who you vote for. Don said that. He said that in his comment. So, like, yeah, we need to
Right.
be careful who we vote for, and I think if we could pay better attention to, like, these bills or something, which obviously is going to be very hard because the average American, they don't have that attention span to read through an entire fucking bill and shit. You know what I mean?
I mean, okay, we have Congress.org. It summarizes like what a bill does. For example, the infrastructure bill, right? When I highlighted it to you, you could read just the simple points of what it did.
Yeah.
Congress.org is
I actually, after reading the bill, I'm not exactly anti-Build Back Better. I think there's some points on there that I think I do, like, kind of disagree on. Like, I think we need to, like, not spend as much money on all this crazy stuff, but at the same time, it's also going to help our economy in the long run, which I think is actually a good thing. I think the Build Back Better bill should probably be passed, but it's not going to get passed because it's just going to be a lot of, like, rhino conservatives are not going to look into it, and they're just going to look and they're going to say, "Oh, Biden bad."
It doesn't politically benefit them. I think the conservatives are doing this not because they're stupid. I don't believe I think conservative voters are getting shafted by the Conservative Party, and they have for decades. Also, Donald Trump, in my opinion, is no longer trustworthy.
You don't think he's trustworthy?
No, what's happened recently has made me lose even more trust in him than I had. Right.
I mean, I've always seen him. I don't see.
He's under 6 investigations for financial fraud. 6 investigations.
Okay. Well, for me, I've seen.
Well, actually, wait, hold on. One of the. Sorry.
I see Donald Trump has done a lot of good,
right?
As well. I think he's done a lot of good. He did a lot of good for the economy, for example. He did a lot of good for that.
I can't really cite where Trump did good for the economy. I mean, I can look at the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017, which I like that bill, which is a good thing. I'm glad it passed.
I mean, what was it? Wasn't it like 2 million jobs or something added that he did? He added 2 million jobs to the market?
No, these jobs came back after, like, they left under previous administrations.
The only reason why Joe Biden is, quote unquote, creating more jobs than Trump did, for me, is because, from what I've seen, is because people don't want to fucking work right now.
That's because no one has minimum wage incentives, but Democrats want to raise the minimum wage.
So some of those jobs.
Problem is,
some of those jobs, they're not construction work jobs. They're not fucking like engineering jobs. These jobs are McDonald's hiring, and Pizza Hut, and DoorDash. That's what we
have a large trucker. We have a large trucker problem, and we're paying truckers now a large amount, and it's starting to have a good effect. But we need, like, a national minimum wage increase. Americans cannot continue to live under
I do agree with that. I think we need to increase the minimum wage, which will be a temporary solution. But after you do that, you need to immediately start trying to unfuck the economy so that inflation doesn't fucking go up.
The way you unfuck the economy is we need to spend more right now. We can't, Like, because we're
So
not
we need to have.
spending
So we
money
need to have
because
like
the
another
conservatives are
1920s
blocking.
boom. We need to have another 1920s boom.
We need
basically.
to.
We had an economic
We
boom.
need to.
I will say this: I think we had an economic boom under Bush with how much people were spending back then.
No, under Bush, our economy crashed, and that's why he was voted out. Like,
Or was that under Obama?
well, that's
when
why he was
everyone
voted out in
buying
Congress.
shit? Everyone was buying a lot of shit under Obama.
We were buying a lot of shit before Bush. Our economy was stagnating, but it wasn't awful because Bill Clinton was trying to stabilize the economy. And then Bush comes in, and oh
Crashed the
boy,
economy.
it just gets even worse. And Obama brings it back from a near depression to a recession, but because he isn't able to fulfill his promises, people get angry with him. But Obama did his absolute best as president. Like, what people need to understand is, like, Obama was a great president. Like, the way he brought back the economy after such a colossal fuck up was just phenomenal. Like, we need to spend more money, but the conservatives don't want to. And a lot of the problems they bitch about, like the border, inflation, it could be solved if they would work together with the Democrats. The Democrats are proposing solutions, but the Republicans don't want to do the solutions
because it hurts
because it's not politically
interest.
good for them. Exactly, and that's what drove me away from the MAGA movement. I learned how much like these people don't really care to solve these problems.
I mean, for me, I'm gonna stick. I'm gonna stick with the MAGA movement because I think I believe in what Trump says, and I want to give him this next chance as well because I seen he did some good things in his first presidency, which I really liked, and I think he can do good things in his second presidency as well if he plays the right cards. And I think we literally need to make America great again. We need to do it.
Yeah, but the Democrats want to make America great again. It's not the conservatives.
I don't believe in Biden. I don't believe in Biden. For me,
I don't believe in him either. But I believe in the bipartisanship of the Congress. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I believe if the Republicans would, stop trying to screw over their own voter base, and this goes for every conservative, even MAGA politicians. Like, this doesn't just go to the corrupt conservatives because even the MAGA
goes to
politicians
Rand Paul
are
and DeSantis
also,
as well, and Cruz.
Right. You guys need to work with the Democrats because they are proposing solutions to solve your problems.
Yeah.
Please, for God's sakes, work with.
I actually agree. I agree with you. I think we need to negotiate. That's the term. You need to go into negotiations and you need to make compromises in politics, which is something that you kind of learn in like middle school and elementary school, that sometimes in political debates you need to make a compromise, but nobody fucking does that anymore. Nobody wants to make a compromise with the other side.
Do you know what I'm worried about the most though, right?
What?
I'm worried once Trump and the Republicans get back into office, they're going to control all three branches of the government. It's most likely that they're going to control the House. They're going to win the Senate. They're going to retake the presidency. All of this is undisputed. But when I look at this as bad news. And the reason why is because if conservatives aren't willing to work with Democrats now, and they're going to take more power, if they still refuse to work with Democrats, none of our problems are going to get solved.
Well, they're
going to get worse.
Here's the thing. The Republicans need to see that, and they need to be like, hey, if we might have power now, but if we don't start, trying to make the right decisions, we're going to fuck ourselves because we're going to lose next time.
I just feel like the MAGA movement has lied to me, and I don't like people lying to me. It feels really wrong, but when I read these bills, when I heard the rhetoric of Trump talking about things that didn't matter, trans people and in sports, I'm like, why are you talking about that instead of why Republicans won't work with Democrats in Congress?
Or
Like,
inflation.
these people should be your best friends. These shouldn't be your enemies. I don't see a conservative as my enemy. I see him as an American. And I would be glad if me and him got together to bitch at these politicians to do better.
Exactly. I think we need it's a politician problem, and we need to fix it. And as Americans, we need to vote the rats out, and we need to. Here's the thing: it's not just about voting as well. You also need to. You need what you need to do. You need to write as well. You can write like letters to Congress. You can do petitions. There's a whole other shit.
Call your Congress member. Call your Congress member.
Yeah, you can do a whole other a lot of stuff to try to convince them that there's things that need to be fixed.
Yeah, there's a lot that needs to be fixed. So I believe it can be. I believe it can be done through social democracy, which you seem to agree with. Like the MAGA movement, to me, like the voters, they seem like they would absolutely agree with these positions to make America great again. And I believe we can do it under, and I hate to say it because I hate to sound like a superior person here. I absolutely don't want to come off as that. But I believe you can do that under the Democratic Party. I don't believe the conservatives have ever shown me like a pathway forward. If they do show me, like, I would of course support them. But I don't believe that conservatives are. I believe the voters want America to change for the better, but the politicians that they vote in, no matter who they are, whether they are like Make America Great Again, I'm going to deal with the woke corporations, or hey, let's have more woke corporations, but I'm totally a Republican. Yeah, right.
Yeah, you're not a fucking.
You have like there's no difference between those two politicians. The difference between them is they want to screw over America in two different ways. I believe like America would get better under a full Democratic House, Senate, and Congress, like a full Democratic Senate and a better president than Joe Biden. I believe another FDR would be better.
Yeah. I was gonna say, do not fucking say fucking Kamala Harris or fucking Bernie.
No, God.
No.
Jesus Christ, no. Neither of them. Can we just get someone better than all of them?
If I will say this, if we get a Democrat, Tulsi Gabbard is the best one. Tulsi Gabbard is the best one. Tulsi Gabbard would fix all our problems as a president.
I believe she's smart enough, and I
think Tulsi Gabbard could be the next FDR.
Possibly. But, I'm
maybe
just really worried about
maybe
the
another
conservatives
JFK
taking
or
over
something.
again.
We need another FDR or
right.
JFK.
I'm worried about the conservatives taking over again. And it's not just like Congress, and it's not just the presidency. What I'm also
I'm definitely going to be following this close because
boards.
this gets brought to my attention. We need to be following this close.
Right.
You see what I mean? So I'm going to be following this close.
Right. So
guess what? As a conservative, if my side fucks up, I'm going to be mad about it. I'm going to probably rant about it. If my side fucks up, I'm going to say, dude, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, just like I'm doing with regards to Biden. Like, I'm pointing out the bad things about him, but I'm also pointing out the good things. And I'm hoping that, like, I can reach across the aisle.
Yeah,
in a good
I
way.
think we need to meet in the middle. That's the key of this. We need to meet in the middle. We need to stop trying to fuck each other over just for political differences. But at the same time, I think this country definitely needs to try to be less woke as well, because like seriously, everyone needs to stop being such fucking snowflakes and shit. You know what I mean? Like, just be chill.
I think America goes with periods where it's like what you consider to be woke. It goes through periods of that and like not that, because people change over times and new generations replace old people. This happens pretty consistently throughout all of human history. So it goes in cycles. I don't believe that, it's a cultural problem. I don't believe that Americans are as divided as they seem.
I think it might just be the news trying to divide people on purpose. I think it's like people would be more like us, just talking and chilling, if they would actually fucking listen to each other for once in their goddamn fucking lives. You know what I mean? And would actually listen to points and start trying to meet in the middle and stop trying to go completely polar ends. But right now we're seeing a trend where people are at completely opposite ends of the spectrum and just stray completely further and further to that opposite of the end of the spectrum to make the other side angry for whatever reason. Because the other side,
and I believe
just to get a
Republicans
reaction,
are getting worse.
And I think it's also just because we are bored. I think it's just humans are bored in general right now. We're I don't know, I want to see drama, so do that. That's what's going on.
I don't. I'm convinced that the current Republican Party isn't as chill as it used to be. It has certainly gone off base. I supported it very hardly from 2016 all the way until 2020.
Well, I've supported it from 2016 till now, so I've stuck it out. Honestly, I'm not even sure if
conservatives.
I'm actually not sure if you are a Democrat. I think you might be a libertarian.
No, I am absolutely on the left. I'm further left than a Democrat. But even the reason you agree with me is because you want America to be better, but the things that you want, right, conservatives don't want. Conservative politicians are different than the people who vote for them. The people who vote for them should absolutely vote Democrat because they're actually trying to address the problems you care about. Economy, border, you name it. They are literally trying to address your problem. You getting paid shit at work? They're trying to raise the minimum wage. Republicans don't want that done. Why? Why are they trying to hurt you? I don't understand
I think the minimum wage problem is because they're too worried about long-term inflation. But we need to just start spending, like you said. We need to start spending as well as soon as those wages go up. As soon as those wages go up, we need an economic boom fast.
Yeah, and the way we can get that is if we increase the supply and drastically bring down the demand. We can do this if I think we do what the Democrats have proposed for years, right? Oil seems to not be working out.
But think about right now. We're under what? Mainly a Democrat. Mainly Democrats are doing stuff right now.
We're split control. The Democrats have essentially no power to do anything. The president gets shut down by the conservative Supreme Court.
So what
he gets absolutely fucked in the Senate.
So what we need to do.
So he gets.
Listen. What we need to do is, as I said, the people need to start making decisions and do their own research right now to make change before either side takes complete power.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, if any time is the best time to make any change as a people and unite, now is the fucking time to do so.
Yeah, exactly. And I believe it can be done under democracy. It can be done under the Democrats.
We have
100% sure about that.
Yeah, I will not fucking vote Biden. I will not vote Biden.
I'll see. Right, I won't either. No, he sucks. But listen, I hope one day the country goes left. I hope one day that we get to a point where we're funding schools, everyone's being paid $15 an hour. And if you are in like a more important job, you're being paid more, obviously, because everyone else is being paid more. I think that's a good thing. Personally, I think nurses and doctors should be paid more than they currently are. It's ridiculous. I believe all this can be done under the Democrats, and I hope to one day see we have the voice filibuster back. I want to see politicians argue on our behalf for the American people.
But we'll see. But when that happens, I also worry about how the culture is going to change as well in itself. I worry about. Like,
I think the culture is going to be better. Like I think it's going to be less politically divided.
You think so? Because
I think.
What do you think?
The reason why.
What do you think is going to happen if? Because I know damn well there are corrupt politicians on the left. I know damn well.
I know so. I know. I
look
know
at Elizabeth
so,
Warren.
I'm
look
saying,
at AOC. Look at Kamala. Look at Biden. Crooked.
I'm not saying any of them. Right. No, that's not what I mean when I say left. No, I'm sorry. When I say left, I mean someone who's more competent and not as corrupt as these fools.
Yeah, I do not want those fuckers in office in any political power.
Right, I understand that. No, they're corrupt. But I'm hoping one day the country is united by the left wing, because they seem to be like, wanting to solve the problems. But if that ever changes to the conservatives, then I'll 100% support them.
Yeah,
but
if the conservatives get a change of heart or something, then we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Right. They could absolutely make America great again. What if they do? What if they truly do make America great again? We start feeling less divided as a country. The economy gets better. The jobs start coming back. We have strong unions.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. If you think about this, you look
right.
Like they could make the change right now, and again, as the people, you need to start trying your best to make the change. But unlike a lot of like sports leagues and shit, politics isn't scripted. You know what I mean? There's not a set script of what fucking happens in politics. Politics controls what happens, but it's not scripted. It's decision based of the ideas of people. And what we need to do is try to change the set path, the decisions that are made, so that way the quote-unquote script can be better, even though there is no script.
We can make America like more democratic than it is right now.
Yeah.
Right now, it is a mess. Like, the Senate can't get anything done despite being 50-50. The Democrats control the Senate, but
that's because we're all against each other. That's because we're all against each other, because we don't fucking do shit.
Well,
we're all we're all fighting each other. It's a filibuster, and we're all fighting each other. We're all fucking fighting each other. We need to stop fighting for once in our goddamn lives and just hear each other out. We need to hear each other out. We need to stop fucking fighting. We need to stop fucking fighting all the fucking time. There's a time and a place there's a time and your place to defend your opinion, you know what I mean? Or to defend your view, right? Yeah. When the other side is trying to utterly butt fuck your view, that's the time to fucking defend your view. Like for example, Beto O'Rourke is the perfect example for that. When he said, "Hell yes, we're gonna take your AR-15s," that's the fucking time to defend your view. You know what I mean? That's the time you like vote Republican, you fucking do the complete opposite of what he's doing, because he's gonna infringe your fucking rights. You know what I mean? But when the Democrats propose a bill that is kind of ideological to what you're actually doing, you don't be like, Democrat bad, I'm gonna vote against this. No, you just fucking you read it, you think through on what you're doing, and you make proposals, and then you come to a conclusion to fucking fix this shit.
Yeah, I believe
obviously
that the
people
country
don't see that.
can become better. I believe the country can become better if we take a shift to the left. I don't believe the shift to the right is going to be a good thing. I have not seen very good things from
I think it
MAGA.
can be a good thing. I think it can be a good thing.
I think it has the possibility, but
it has potential. It
but
can be a good
I'm
thing.
scared.
We'll have
I'm
to see.
scared of like how, like what if it doesn't get better? What if it gets worse under the conservatives?
If it gets worse on the conservatives, then
Like,
it's the
what if they
conservatives'
start
fucking
taking-
fault. Then it's the conservatives' fault.
Right.
Then
Yeah, like,
nobody's
they could
gonna
start
vote
taking
conservatives.
away-
Then you're gonna lose voters because I think
Right, they could-
I think Trump is smarter than to just butt fuck everything. Okay, he's not Biden. He's smarter. He's gonna try to fucking appeal to what the people want. You know what I mean? Because
Right, but-
Trump, he does that. That's why, as you stated before, that's why he was talking about transgenders in sports. It's not because he controls that. It's because he's trying to grow a fan base, and he's trying to appeal to people who feel that they've been had their backs turned on by society, and he's fighting the culture war a bit because guess what? To be honest, people get bored easily by things like not me exact for Furry, but like some people, they get bored easily from constant talk about the economy and all that. People want things that they can relate about. So when Donald Trump talks about, oh, these SJWs are in sports and shit and they're ruining everything, then people get behind it. And also Trump, he's a big name. He's a former president, so he can have he can have those fan bases create change in their own communities as well. Though he doesn't have any direct change on it, he can influence people to think a certain way. You know what I mean?
Yes. There's some bad things when it comes to Trump, like the fact that he's the culture war president.
I mean,
under Trump, we as Americans got way more divided, and we're still divided now, and it's really bad. Like, we are way off base.
Well, I do feel like second term of Obama was also a culture war president that divided Americans as well. Joe Biden's actually dividing Americans even more.
Right. I feel like
the only thing I could say about Joe Biden, the only thing he's done is unite the right closer. He's united the right,
and I believe,
because of all the protests and everything. And that's why the fucking right wing is going to take over in the next fucking election, because it's just going to happen.
Right.
Like, look,
and I'm terrified of that.
If you thought 2016 had massive, right wing, you thought 2020 even was pretty big. 2024 is even bigger.
Well,
and I think it can be a good thing. And I will vote Trump. I will vote Trump because I like his ideas, and I think he can do the right things.
I think he has the potential, but I don't think he wants to do the good things for America.
The thing is, I don't think that voting for a third party as well is going to fucking help anything, because, it's kind of stupid. Like, part of the vote, I'm going to vote a third party, and then, like, most of the vote goes to the right, and then after, like, the rest of the left is, like, unites, and then you get Biden in president again.
Well, Biden didn't win because of third party. Biden won because people were promised a future away from Trump, and with a bad economy and with all the things collapsing around them, people believed that things would get better under Biden.
Well, I thought
things.
People voted for Biden because they just didn't like Trump because Orange Man bad.
No, they voted for him
because I thought that was a lot of the people who voted for Trump.
Like, our economy back in February was really good, but by March our economy had collapsed. And that was under the Trump presidency, and people blamed President Trump for the economy, and so they voted for Joe Biden. The reason they also voted for Joe Biden, the country shifted 7 points, nearly 8 points to the left, and Biden barely won the election. Like, that is insane to me. And that is really bad for this country, because when the country eventually does get controlled by the conservatives, when they control the House, the Senate, and the presidency in 2024, when they have everything, what's going to end up happening is I believe that they're going to destroy their own base. They're going to betray their people, and they're going to make America worse. I don't want them to take away fundamental rights of Americans. I don't want them to fight this culture war.
Yeah.
I would want America to become better. So I hope to God
Well,
that
I think
when the conservatives get into power,
listen. I
they
think
don't do.
I think if the conservatives take complete control of the House, Senate, and presidency, they basically kind of win the culture war at that point. Like,
but that's not winning the culture war.
They piss off all the SJWs to the point. Like, I think if that happens, all the SJWs will just go into complete meltdown mode, and it'll be kind of like 2016 again, but worse, because they'll be even worse. The left will make themselves look horrible directly after the president. They will probably riot in the streets.
It's the right that's going to make them.
I won't see. I think the left will riot in the streets after Trump wins.
26. But the thing is, the conservatives ruined themselves when they were last in power in 2016. They lost the House in 2018 because the Republicans in the House were absolutely awful. The people voted for the Democratic Party. And in 2020, you even saw, you saw the Senate become 50-50.
Yeah.
The Democrats took control of the Senate, and Joe Biden barely won the presidential election. The Democrats took all three branches. Well, I mean, they already had the House. They nearly lost that in 2020.
Now. So you're saying it's 50-50, but the Democrats also won. So how come laws can't get passed?
Laws can't get passed because they require the majority of the Senate.
Which also means that some Democrats are going against the law.
No, it means that some Republicans have to agree with the Democrats.
Exactly, and you said only 10 for that bill. You said only 10 Republicans voted against it.
No, 10 Republicans would need to support it in order for it to pass. It needs a passage of 60-40. That's the problem with the filibuster. The filibuster doesn't allow for most things to go through.
That means that 30 Republicans voted for it. 30 Republicans voted for it. Hold on.
No.
My bad.
Okay. The 50 Democrats wanted to pass it. The Republicans didn't want to pass it, and they used the filibuster, and it got shut down. That was it.
Because it went 50-50?
Because the filibuster is there, and it's stopping Democratic legislation from going through. So they don't have as much control over the Senate as people like to think they do. Like, if the Republicans were put in this position, I wouldn't blame them for not getting things done either. I would say the Republicans are being fucked over because they're unable to get anything through the Senate. Like, they can barely even pass things through the House thanks to dipshit progressives like AOC. She voted no on the infrastructure bill. What the fuck, AOC? What the literal fuck?
Because she's AOC and she's
I hate that bitch.
She's a little bitch. She's a little dumbass.
God, she fucking is. I hate AOC. She fucking sucks. She said no to the infrastructure bill, which is really fucking good that both Republicans and Democrats somehow agreed on. I don't know how the fuck that happened. That was a miracle. But, like...
AOC said no.
I'm just worried that I'm just worried that if the Republicans take power, they're not going to do anything good with it like they did last time.
Well, it'd be the same thing I'd say the same thing. I'd be worried if Democrats took complete power. I'd be worried if that happened.
But they're trying to solve the problems, and Republicans won't allow it to happen. So, like, I have seen how good the left can do, even when they're in the minority, right? Because they're still trying to pass things, even though they know it's not going to happen. They're still trying to do things, you know?
But that means that right now the left doesn't have control because it's 50-50, as you said.
Yeah, they have the technical majority, 51, because of Kamala Harris, she's a tie-breaking vote, but that's only for economic decisions. Like these other kinds of changes.
Well, wouldn't you say that the
example,
infrastructure bill is an economic decision?
No, the infrastructure bill is surprisingly it wasn't an economic decision. It passed with
What is it? A social decision?
Wait, so it had no.
Even though the infrastructure
it
bill
was a political decision.
So,
And so what happened was it passed the Senate because it was nearly 20 Republicans who voted in support of it, and then a bunch of members in the House voted for it. And then it got passed. But the progressives nearly sunk the bill. But thankfully, 13 Republicans in the House saved the bill from failing.
Yeah, so good on them.
Yeah, Republicans came in handy in the House because they countered dipshit progressives who said, no, we don't want infrastructure.
We want communism. That's what they're like. We don't want infrastructure. We want
more. We want more in this bill. And it's like, I've seen the Democrats do things. Under the Republican administration, barely anything happens. So I'm worried that either two things are going to happen.
Nothing happens, or they fuck over.
The Republicans, right? Exactly. And if either happens, it's bad for this country. I'll give them a chance, but I really don't believe in the MAGA movement anymore because I don't believe they're trying to make America great again.
So who are you going to vote for? Since this is going to be your first vote, it's also going to be my first vote. Who are you voting for? You voting for Biden or Trump? Because those are pretty much the two people that are going to be going for.
I'll vote for whoever the Republican nominee is.
So you'll vote for Trump?
Even though I disagree with their positions heavily.
You will not vote for Biden, though, because Biden is a fuck up.
Absolutely not. No, he can go fuck himself. I hope he fucking loses.
It's kind of like the people who voted for Hillary Clinton because Orange Man bad. Or the people who voted for Biden because of Orange Man bad.
It's like the Obama supporters who supported Trump because they were like...
They were mad because Hillary Clinton
crazy.
fucked
We don't
over
like
Obama.
Clinton.
Yeah.
So, I'll definitely be voting Trump for 2024.
I'll be voting Trump
in every other election,
I'll be voting
I'm
Trump.
going full Democrat. Like,
okay. I mean, unless there's worse Democrats elsewhere.
Right. I believe the national Democrats can go fuck themselves, but on the state level, like Senate and House, full Democrat, 100%.
So you think that your local Senate Democrats are good?
Yes.
Who's your Senator Democrat going for?
Well, we don't know who's running against Ted Cruz because that's in 2026, I believe. But the other one,
Ted Cruz.
Which is
you used to like Cruz.
Sorry, wait, hold on. It's up in I think Texas is up in 2024. I'll be supporting whoever is running against the other guy.
So for me,
John Cornyn.
For me, I'm actually excited about as you have heard me be vocal about, I'm actually excited about my governor election that's going to be happening pretty soon. And I will be giving my full support to Governor B.J. Penn.
All righty.
Yeah, and I'll also be voting for Trump in the election. But here's the thing: if he does fuck things up, then I might vote Democrat for once. We'll see. If he fucks everything up completely the way that you say he might do, then I will probably vote Democrat. We'll see. It might be one of the only times I vote Democrat, and it also does depend who the Democrat candidate is going to be, because it might just be Biden again. If it's Biden again, I'll still vote Trump, because I'm not going back to Biden.
Yeah, no, I don't believe we should.
Well, actually, it wouldn't be Trump. It wouldn't be Trump after. It'd probably be Trump Jr. or DeSantis, and after that, after 2024. So 2028 would probably, I think it'd be like Biden or Kamala against DeSantis or Ted, or not Ted Cruz, fucking or Trump Jr.
I just hope if the Republicans
I actually would
take
vote
back-
Trump Jr. I actually would vote Trump Jr.
Right. I hope if the Republicans do indeed take back every.
I'm not gonna lie.
Everything.
I think Trump Jr. actually is a better politician than Donald Trump is.
I don't know. We'll see.
I follow his social
I
media and
just hope
everything, and
if
I find
there
myself
were-
agreeing with him a lot.
Right.
Anyways,
if I.
yeah. You finish up what you're gonna say.
I really hope that if the Republicans win back, like all three, if they win back the presidency, the Senate, and the House, that they absolutely do good for America. I'm wishing them the best luck with governing if they win, and I hope that they try not to take rights away like they did last time.
Yeah. I don't think that they should be fucking taking away rights. I think if they did that, the fucking the conservatives would probably uprise against their own people. It's kind of like during the Obama election when everybody decided to fuck over Mitt Romney. Because Mitt Romney
lost because he was the wrong religion, but also because his views were stupid.
Yeah, because he's a dick. Mitt Romney just lost for being a dick.
Pretty much.
Anyways, that's going to be the end of this video. So, all right, we're going to go and log you out pretty much of this whole thing. All right.
Yep.
Anything else?
If you want to go subscribe to my YouTube channel, it is called Huskyx. You spell it HUSKEYX, and you capitalize the X and the H, obviously. And that'll be my channel.
You want to
thank
shout out
you.
your Discord as well?
Of course. I am in Political Furs. I can create an invite for anyone who wants that. Pretty much.
See that? Is that everything? Just that's.
Yeah, and thank you for talking to me. I appreciate it.
No,
thank you for live streaming.
I think
this
it's
whole
actually
thing so
I think
can
it's actually
explain
really
everything.
good because I think we need to try to see the other side sometimes and not constantly try to fuck each other over all the time. And I think
Right.
I don't know. Don't call me arrogant or whatever, but I think I was probably the best person to do this because I think anybody else would have just made fun of you live stream. Like
Yeah, and then I probably would have roasted them.
Like honest to God,
Yeah.
like I'll say a name. Like I love Dexter a lot. Like I think he's a pretty chill dude for me, but he probably would have roasted the shit out of you. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, he hasn't been exactly the friendliest.
Like
But that's
Dexter and
fine
me
and all,
and Dexter, me and Dexter are chill, but like, yeah, I think Dexter would probably just try to roast you.
Yeah, and then I'd roast him back.
Yeah, we'll see about that. But yeah, I think I'm actually surprised the comment section managed to stay pretty fucking humble. I thought it was going to be a lot worse. I thought everyone was going to try to like mob you, but nah. Even Dexter stayed pretty.
Yeah.
Dexter stayed respectful. So good on you, bro. Thanks for staying respectful. Yeah, because that's all I ask is that everybody stay respectful and just, for once,
Right.
Can we just respect people's opinions for once and just be chill for a little bit?
Right. So I hope you understand. Like I am Make America Great Again Democrat, aka Social Democrats. There you go.
All right.
Welcome to the ideology, by the way. It's great. Absolutely fantastic.
Interesting. I think I'm still what's called a quote-unquote neoliberal, I think.
No, you are a MAGA Republican.
Yeah, but
which it's interesting.
Because I took that political test and they said I'm a neoliberal, whatever that means.
Oh.
Which is basically like
Yeah.
Pretty much like Reagan
Yeah, neoliberal
ideology.
can either be on the left or right. The neoliberal can be on the left or right, so traditional left or right. Yeah, you're fine.
Yeah.
You're good.
Basically MAGA Republican. All right, man. I'll see you around.
See ya.
All right. Anyways, people, that's the end of this stream, so we're just going to be pretty chill today. I'm going to cruise out if I can get this fucking speaker working. No, this speaker doesn't want to fucking work for whatever reason. Why? I have no fucking clue. Yeah, speaker doesn't want to work, so. Anyways, that's the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoy. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe to the video. And yeah, leave comments, subscribe for more. Have a good one. Nomadic Cole signing off.